Get into flow. I've been over there on the Tickety Talk a little bit. I'm starting my gaming channel and kind of doing research and things like that. But it is always lovely to see you guys. I obviously do a whatever kind of feel vibe when I go live sometimes. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm gonna be cooking, have some conversation. If you guys are new here, thank you for joining. Oh, look at that. I was in here cooking. Y'all can already tell. Got the spots. But if you guys are new here, welcome, welcome. We talk about poly relationships. We also talk about regular relationships. We talk about how relationships can make our lives better. Any kind of relationships with food, relationships with family, with work. There's all kind of relationships, and the better relationships that you do have, I believe that the better life you will have. And so, as we work on each relationship that we have throughout our lives, we will become better. And so, we want to obviously learn how to manage those, which goes straight into our topic, which is for today. Okay, it is I can date. I said 10 people, I think. I can date 10 people. Why not add another, basically? This is something that I have talked about before, which is capacity. Capacity, capacity, capacity. There are a lot of people who think that, since you are poly, that you don't have a limit. You just keep adding, and you'll just keep getting more people in your life and things like that. But that is not true. Most times when you're in a relationship with someone, it does take a lot of things, take energy, a lot of different time. And and for some people, they don't have compartmentalization really down well. Some do, some don't do. And so there are different aspects of having multiple relationships that can influence how many partners you can have or how many partners you would like to have. And so those are questions that you would love to ask the person you're with, or ask yourself these questions, because it does make a difference, right? So while we're doing that, though, I'm going to be cooking. So I will be going into our area here. I'm gonna grab out some things to make some food. So as we're cooking and having conversation. So hi, are you guys there? I'm just gonna grab some food. Okay, we're gonna be cooking and having conversation. So like I said, let me get my stuff out here so I can get us set up here as we cook and have conversation. So, what I said, capacity is very important when you're dating more than one person. Knowing how many people you can date is so, so important. And so, the first thing I will say about this topic is, what is your capacity? I think we all need to find out what our capacity is. I think that there are a lot of people, and that even goes for if you're monogamous, knowing how much of a person that you can deal with is important. Knowing that, hey, there are people who are extremely needy. You can't have a relationship or a relationship with someone who's extremely needy, and you're a person who can't give those people what they need. There are some people who need a lot of attention. Those people are going to need a lot of your time. You're going to have to, get into, hi, does this person need me 3 times a week, 4 times a week? Does this person need to be a nesting partner? So it's really, really important to know who you're dating, how many people would want to be added to that if there are people. Hi, thank you guys for coming in. Love to see you. Comment any question you have at the bottom. I appreciate it. We're talking about I can date more than more than all these people, right? And so we're talking about capacity, and we're gonna be making some food. I got some salmon about to go in this oven while we're having this conversation, this live, and I'm making salmon today. And I don't think I have no foil, so we just gonna have to do it just the way it is. But I'm make some salmon today, and I'm also gonna make like a little taco, okay? Because I don't think I'm gonna eat all this salmon. I'm not in the salmon eating mood, but I'm gonna make it because it's healthy. But anyway, having more than one partner, you need to know that. You need to know if you can deal with more than one partner. You need to know what kind of partners. And my suggestion to anyone who's interested in that is to find out. Find out. How do you find out? Hey there. You want to find out how many people you can date at the same time? You got to test it. I know that sounds wild. Some people will say they just know. I wanted to test it. I tested it before, so I'm very aware of how many was too many. And I got a recipe down for myself at one point that worked. Okay. Um, so there's a recipe for me that I know that I can hold on to more than one partner. Depending on what kind of partner they are and where they are. Some people who are long distance, those partners work really well. Long distance partners are good to have, because sometimes their needs are a little bit lower and you can provide them with those needs. So you have to have conversation about what you guys want from each other. Okay. But one of the things I have a conversation about is like what do you want from me? Like what kind of relationship do you want? Do you want like do you want high contact? Well, high contact to me is you want to call every day. You want to call every day. Hey guys, you want to call every day. You want me to talk to you every day, which is fine. Dating 8 people is crazy. Yes, dating 8 people is crazy. To some, I have not met a lot of people who can deal with the capacity that I know some others can. Some people can date 2 people. I have made some modification. I have dated quite a few people. And what does dating involve? We got to be open about that, right? What does dating involve? A lot of people think you're not dating unless you're being sexual. Well, there's a lot of people who don't want to have sex all the time, or some people who live far away. So that could be someone you're still with. Because if you were in the military and your man was off, or you were dating a truck driver, or they're not with you all the time. So saying that if I have this many partners, I'm just getting smashed down every 2 minutes is probably not true. Okay. And actually, anyone who has a high capacity will tell you that's absolutely not true. And they are not getting that at all. Most likely, that's what they're going to say. I haven't heard anyone say that. Wash my hand off here, sorry. Got my salmon on the tray. Most people who have a higher people that they date, they definitely will say that that's not the case. And the partners that they are with, usually it's just not how it goes. And I think that some people think in this lifestyle that we're all like sexual deviants and we just want to get it every minute. And that's just not what it is. And so once you get the focus off the sexual part, because sex comes with the relationship for the most part, that will happen. You'll probably have more sex because you have more partners, but not necessarily all the time. So you got to know that, right? So remembering all the names. I don't think names have never really been an issue for me. I know I'm talking to. When people make that comment, usually I tell them, I say, it sounds to me like you've never been to a party with a whole bunch of friends. Because, I mean, when you're at a party with a whole bunch of friends from your class, you confuse them. When you go to your family's reunion, you call people Ted and their name's Bill. I've never done it. So I just find it kind of, a little odd. If you struggle with that, hey, listen, know your limits. So I think that it's a little odd when people say like, oh, I won't remember their names. I don't remember you not remembering a whole bunch of stuff unless you have memory lapse issues. Because I ain't never had a problem where I forget someone's name or confuse them. But so the prompts has brought everyone in. I'm having that conversation with people regarding dating multiple people and the struggles that some people have. I will say finding your capacity is number one. There are people who are dating too many people. That is something you have to accept. People are dating too many people. And that's including the girls and guys who are deciding to date more than one person, or say, oh, I'm not dating them. We just, I got a roster. Can you keep up with your roster? Because to me, people who say they have a roster just don't want to have a commitment to anything, and they try to separate and segregate the relationship so that they're only seeing that person for particular reasons. And when you do that, if you choose to do that, if you have a roster, you still have to know your person's name. I bet you there's a lot of people who can keep those straight when you got stuff to do, because a lot of those women, men too, if you're in that situation where you have a roster or whatever, you still have to know people's names. You want to mess up getting the benefits of having the roster, right? So I never heard anybody messing up too much, that they don't get stuff done. Never heard of that before. So I think when people say that, I think that it's just an idea of it might be too much. I'm not saying you should either. So when you have the capacity down, figuring out how many people you should date or like to date, I think you should definitely, think about those things. Think about how much time you can offer. I always tell people it's about what you can give, what you what you want, and what you need. Those are the reasons you should evaluate when you're going to start dating someone, because there's a lot of people out here who want to get a lot from people, but they can't give a lot. Or they need a lot from people, but they can't give a lot. And so what they offer is not too much. So when you're in that situation, or you're a taker for the most part, and we're not saying you're a horrible person, we're just saying you don't have a lot to give, right? For whatever reason. When you're in a situation where you don't have a lot to give, then you have to figure out how you can make that a difference in that, right? And that also will qualify if you can have more than one partner. Because if you end up with 10 partners and you don't give nobody nothing, and you think everybody's giving you something, they will get mad about that and they will not like it. And there will be a problem. There's a dating coach that dated 10 men at once, and she got married to one of them in a year. So the dating coach this is what I'm saying. When you have a roster, quote unquote, you're basically telling everybody you're working to get to that point. I think for me, I don't think the roster would be good choice, because to me, it feels like everyone's getting the best part of you, and you're just waiting for someone to give you the max amount, and then you pick, instead of you putting in the work in the relationship. Because some people are better when they're with you, and you're better together. So then that kind of throws it off. So if you meet someone and they're not where they're supposed to be, or they have to work on things or whatever, or together after you get to know each other, you work better together, you're not giving that person opportunity. But that's just me. But I understand, if some people that works. And like you said, they're basically making everybody work to see if they can get one. But dating, you still have to be able to keep numbers right, all those things. But I never had an issue with that, because I don't think of it as, like, if you don't know this or don't know that. Like, most likely you have more than one friend in your life. You're not sitting around one friend. You're not sitting around one cousin. You're not sitting around one family member. You have multiple family members. You have multiple friends. You know their names. You're not forgetting their names. That doesn't make sense. If you're doing that, you clearly just don't care, and you're only there for one reason. We're talking about people who you're interested in, you find value in them. You're not going to forget their names. Those people, you're not forgetting those names. Those names are not just being forgotten. So that's one thing. Birthdays, to be honest with you, just why don't you just write it down? If you at least know the month, that comes with time. Just like I said, if someone asks me, I have a rather big family, so if someone asks me sometimes I might be off by a day, but for the most part, I at least know the month. I can get in there, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even celebrate things like that in that order. I usually do like a month. Like, it's in that month, we'll do something when that month is there. So with that being said, know your capacity, find out what that is. A lot of people came here to find out, well, why is that? Like, just add more, right? There are people who want to add more. There are people who get carried away. That's why this new generation of quote unquote polyamorous people, when they have these pods that are extremely big, which they're called webs. You have a web poly, where there's just different stuff. There's a lot that goes on, and I don't like webs personally. I'm not gonna down webs. I've seen someone have an organized web before, but they were very, very organized. They were life coaches. They were very, very involved. So involved that, like, their jobs, one was like a counselor. Some of their jobs involved them actually participating in the relationship on that level, where there's someone has a calendar. There's that, and there's not, most people aren't at that state. And that's the only reason I saw that kind of working to some degree. But for the most part, webs are just too, it's chaotic. And that's kind of probably where a lot of people get the bad name for poly, because you'll run into people with these giant pods. And most of the time, people who are on those pods who are younger, who haven't had any real poly experiences other than lifestyle parties and things like that, they're in the mind that that's what you should do. That's what you do. You just find someone you like them, have a sexual interaction with them, and then you kind of move on after whatever time has passed. People who are in poly who have the mindset of poly aren't in that. They're not switching partners every week, all those things. But there are people who try it new, who kind of get in that habit, which is a bad habit, to do the online dating. I'm just finding different people, and you have to reevaluate that. So one of the advice I would give them was to reevaluate what you're doing, which is if you're getting into the dating and you're dating online and you're dating different people, have a time frame that you're giving out some sexual interactions, because a lot what's going to happen, especially for even if you're a woman who worries about your body count, if you're not, you're worried about just giving yourself away to multiple people just for no reason because that's what they're doing, and you're starting to end up like a lifestyle situation and you don't want to be, then you might want to reevaluate your process of dating people. You know, does someone have sexual access to you just because they said you were cute and you had a good date? Or, you know, is it more than that? You know, do they just have to, what is the minimum they have to do? You have to make that criteria. And when you date more than one person, a lot of times you're able to say no. That is the key. It's easy to say no when there is more, but when you have someone, let's be honest, that is, because then you no longer are prioritizing your natural state, which is maybe even a human interaction. A lot of people are like, well, I want to date someone because I want to be myself. You're not out dating because you're lonely. That's not what you're doing. You're not dating these people because you had nothing to do this weekend. You're not dating someone because you don't have anyone to hang out with this weekend. That's not why. So that makes it more intentional. So poly people really should have more intention when they date, because they don't have to. You don't have to date. You don't have to have anything. So you don't have to do something. It's a little different than, sorry, I'm chopping this up. You don't have to date. So then the stress of dating someone doesn't matter. You're not worried if you don't have a boyfriend on Valentine's Day. You're not worried if, you know, you don't care. So that when you do come across someone, it's for the value it's supposed to be. So really, the people who are like number two in relationships, somebody chose you because they really liked you. That's how I see it. Someone chose you because they really liked you, because they didn't have to choose you. They could have just moved on. I mean, they weren't missing out on anything by moving on. It's just that's what it is. And so thirds and things like that, when sometimes they feel like, oh man, I'm just this extra person filling in some space, I tell them like, no, because someone doesn't have to have you. So that's one thing. Making this taco meat here. I'll let y'all look. Sorry, I got some stuff going on here. But yeah, so you don't have to date anybody. So when people say that, it's kind of, when I tell them like, you don't have to date anybody. This is your choice. And you should be investing in people. But yeah, dating, I put 8. I put 20. I think that would have made someone losing. To be honest. The first time I put something up there, I put 20. But I have a capacity that's rather high. I'm very aware of how high it is. And that dating, I don't always, my capacity is pretty high. But it depends on what it is. So like I said, I have a recipe for capacity. And that's a little different. So my capacity can kind of move things around. Let me get some water for this. So yeah, for the most part, yeah, dating 8, you have to have a lot. First off, I think you need to have a lot of time, because some people like time, or you date certain particular people. That's the other thing you can do. You date particular people. There are people who don't need a lot of time. That's one thing. There's some people who like they work all these hours and really they just need like, I don't know, a few hours or just a quick conversation here and there. They don't need all your time. So a person who's able to have those high capacity relationships, usually people with a lot more time. And with that time, also they have to make sure, you know, they're giving in the energy too. So it's it's a little bit more complex for them. But like I said, truck drivers, you're dating truck drivers, you're dating people who, doing stuff. They don't really care. They worry about the actual time you spend with them, and they like that. So when you have that, that's a whole different thing for poly people. Okay, so that's what I like about the fact that the capacity. I've seen people who say they're dating 10 women. I find that ridiculous. I'm like, why? How? And some people can't even deal with one woman. So I'm like, he must be really good, in his emotional thing. And a lot of those guys, those women, I'm not saying all, because I want to say, because I'm fair to those people. There are a lot of times you'll see those relationships when they have multiple women to that degree that they're not that attentive, and there's a lot of scheduling, and a lot of times, especially in particular big ones, they're missing out on something. The women are missing out, but they're still feeling covered because of the financial stability and things like that. So they just don't say too much. But there's a lot of times that if that person drops the ball on those schedules or those time frames, and all hell's to break loose. All hell breaks loose. So be careful with that. Men who are interested in multiple women, this atmosphere is different. Y'all better be ready. Because I believe that most women that are dating are asking a lot from the men, financially and things like that. And you have to not only provide for yourself, you have to provide for another person. And then you're providing for another person. And the women are already asking basically for you to provide for 3 when they ask for 2. I know that sounds wild, but the stuff they ask for, it's like, and I'm not saying that because I'm a lady dating. I'm saying that as a lady trying to date women. And I'm trying to tell you. When they're the requirements, I'm like, damn, that sounds like we got 3 folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need 2 people working for the third to act like a regular person. And it's just, so you got to be careful with that. But yeah, dating capacity is very, very important. And I said test it. I think you should test it one at a time and see if you can add another, see if that works. Dating people and just adding them all together, if they're not poly, is a horrible idea. And I don't tell anyone to do that ever. If you're working ASMR and he go chop. Oh Lord, I am really hate that. I'm so sorry. I know I'm harassing people. It's done now. I won't chop no more. But yeah, since this is quick little meal here, got my salmon in. I might make some rice. I'm just gonna make that as a taco because I don't know why, but I'm in the mood. I washed some things. But I think this is gonna be really nice. Just make a couple tacos. I just think that's just gonna work because that's what it is. And then make some brownies, I think, right? So anyway, I definitely want to say I think, capacity is very, very important. One of the things is compartmentalizing. Sometimes when you have more than one partner, you gotta remember when you go to the next partner, it depends because some relationships, if you're with other poly people, they understand that sometimes you have emotions that you want to share with them because it's like they're your friend or they're your companion also. But there are times that your partner may be like, hey, listen, like I just want to have you, and I understand someone else is bothering you, but when I come to you, I would like to just enjoy your moments. And that does happen. And those are conversations you have to talk about how you manage those. So sometimes if I get upset with one partner, I can't share with another. Sometimes it's the opposite and I can't. So then I'll go, I'd have to rub that off. And sometimes it looks like I don't care because if I have an argument with you, right? I'm having an argument with you about something we disagree. And I go over to another partner and you see me having fun or you see a picture of us going on a date or something like that and I'm in a good spirits, you may feel like, oh my gosh, you don't care about what happened in this moment. I'm upset and you're over there having a great time with that person. And the thing is, there are times that I have to compartmentalize what happened over here so this person can still enjoy the moments with me. And that should be allowed and not looked at differently. And that's hard for people to understand. Because even though I'm over here having a bad time, I'm still trying to make sure this partner in this relationship has positivity in it. Because they didn't start that, But there are some times where you can't do that. So you gotta kind of communicate that, like, hey, I had a little rough day with what's his name, and But you know, I know I'm here with you, and we're gonna have a great night, and we're gonna move forward. And some people, that bothers them that you're having a great time with someone else, because it also, I'm telling you right now, for men who are looking into getting into this with a woman, with more than one man, you will be triggered that she's cheating. And a lot of people have had cheaters, right, in their life. And so what happens is, if you date someone who's poly as a woman, and you've ever been cheated on, a lot of the things that are occurring to you look like cheating. It looks like cheating, feels like cheating. It reminds you of someone cheating on you, and you will be triggered a lot. You will be triggered a whole lot. And that, I mean, that's just what it is, because everything I do is going to look like a trigger. It's going to look like I'm cheating. It's going to look like I don't care. And that's not necessarily the issue. So that is one big thing about compartmentalizing, sharing with the partner, because you can't fix that they feel that way, because that's a trigger they have from being monogamous. So that's why I said new people who are coming into this really need to do some conversations and really think if they are poly. Some of them are just looking to have relationships with people, right? So that they think the relationship basically, they're trying to look to have relationships with people that they believe that will be easier because they don't have to put in as much work. That's what they think. That's really what they think. And really, in actuality, that's not true at all. Oh, Jesus. In actuality, if anything, you're putting in more. But to them, they think they're putting in less because they're like, oh, let me go over here and do this. But in actuality, that's not true at all. And so they get confused. 1 second, let me get that water up. Oh, yeah, I gotta do that. Okay. So in actuality, yeah, the people who think that, like, hey, this is the easier way, so I'm just gonna give someone half-ass, and if I don't like it, that's just not how it works, because you can't do it. I'll get that later, but most likely you're gonna have to do more. It's just what it is. Let me that turkey. I'm gonna take a look at our salmon, and it's gonna be great. So a lot of times we got to remember that, you know. So let's take a look. Our salmon looks sexy. Ooh, the heat hit me. Salmon's looking really sexy. He looks like he knows people in different places. Give him some more time. He's a sexy looking fish. Sexy looking fish. So, make our rice. I do have a rice maker. My rice maker is sexy too. Get some stuff going here. Okay. I'm also gonna make some brownies. So we trying to make it all. Make some rice, the salmon. I also have arugula today. What's this? I got some arugula. Make some rice here. But yeah, that's what I would say. But I knew people would be triggered by me saying the 8 boyfriends. If someone's gonna ask me, I tried to talk to about 10 people. That was interesting. I did. That's why I tested out the capacity. I went in. I went and tried it out. And yeah, I went in. I tried the capacity, and it was some stuff. So yeah, I went and I tried to date. Well, this one is not all sexual, because some people I never even met in real life. Like I never met them in person. But I did. And one guy that they're like, oh, it's not really dating. I mean, I have conversations with them full on every day. We send each other gifts. I know their address. I know their names. Like, it is a, you know, it was a whole thing. So yeah, I did, and it was interesting. But it was like 10. People were like, oh my God, there's so much. It was about 10. Some of them were. That's how I came up with the recipe I told you about. So I had, there was about, I could have 3 in town, 3 in town. Because they out of town too. So 3 in town was fine. Then I could have Okay, get that rice in. So 3 in town. 3 in town. And then the rest would have to be out of town. And then conversation wise, at the time I tried it, it was like starting conversations with a couple people, like 3 people who was like generally just having conversations like conversation. Um, Probably like every 2 days. Because they work particular hours. Talk to truck drivers, um, people who basically who just really work very weird hours. Some people work overnights, things like that, where like they're it's different. So you have to know your combination. In town, same thing. Like if some people don't need that much interaction, a lot of people, a lot of people who just they just don't, they're isolated. That's what it basically. They're isolated. They don't do too much. Kind of like that. But that's the most. Yeah, that's kind of what it was. But mostly, yeah, 3 people in town. But that was a lot for me. That was the test drive. That was a lot for me. And then 8 was still high. Then you go down again, and then I do still think that I know my capacity, and then but I wouldn't really go extremely high like that. That's why I said you have to try it. Yes, I do. I do not make steak. I don't eat beef, so if I make it, you probably will not see me be the one eating. The routine when I had 3 in town, when I had 3 partners in general, was like I had. They were like, "Oh, you see partners every day? Oh, you just hanging around people? You just see them sometimes?" No, when I had 3 partners in town, what I do is I wake up. I was nesting with one, so I go to the gym in the morning, a couple hours there. Then I see maybe like lunchtime. I see the other partner for a little while, and it's like every day. So you don't have to do like this long periods of time we're hanging out. It's not necessary. Not necessary for a lot of people. But I say like almost every day, if not every day. After that, I might see the one I saw at the gym later on that evening, or if I went to work, after work I obviously go home to my nesting partner, and then maybe I might step out in the evening and go hang out with one for like another hour or something, or maybe not. It just depends on how the day flows. So 3's pretty good number in town. I think that's a good number. And 2 outside of that. Um, like I said, because the time and the need is different, and you need to know. That's why you have to be good. But that still takes a lot. I don't recommend that to many people because it's a lot. And if you have work and other things like that, that's why people say, "Oh, it seems like it's a lot." I'm saying to give the energy that you need to give and the time and all that, you'd have to have partners who are kind of already poly. Poly people understand. If you're dating people who are monogamous, which I have done, it's a lot harder because there's a lot more explaining and time and like that, and so that would makes it different. When I have a poly partner, it's totally different than dating someone who's monogamous. So when I have those kind of structure, if I'm dating people who are monogamous, it's a lot different than dating people with poly because they understand. Oh, okay, see you today. Oh, okay, see you later. See you tomorrow. Oh, maybe have a conversation. Blah blah. We text a little bit. It's no problem. No problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's really it's really interesting. But I think people in their mind they're like, oh, I spent all this time. There's people who don't see their boyfriend for 3 days in person. That I think that that could be that's what people do, like, oh, I saw him like a couple days ago. I had to go to work. I had missed shifts or what. Okay, so you don't see your boyfriend every 3 days, but you think it's weird to see mine every day, but for a little bit of time. Or I didn't see one for a couple of days. May I saw the one for another time. So it depends on how it works. But as long as it works for you, that's all that matters. Because whatever your partners need and what you can give them is okay, then we're all okay. We just have to make sure that we're communicating that the okayness is all the same. And at that point, we're good. You know what I'm saying? So you just find the right recipe for you and the right partners that will work together to make sure everything's good. And that can take some time. So just be aware of that. But yeah, I love that you guys came in for the prompt. It says the men I date just fall off. So I've had 3 men on a constant basis. So yeah, it's like yeah, you date someone, and then so that word I did worry about that for a while. Is that like so I did two, one for 6 years, one and for 5.5 years, and then I was dating someone for like about a year and a half, and at the same time at one point, and they were constant. So when there was like times where I tried to add someone, it didn't work out or something. But that's why I said when it comes to the sexual part, um, one of my partners at the time, well, we mentioned that one time ago. Was just like, well, if you're gonna be open to dating like that, let's reel back on some things that we all feel very comfortable. And I agree that, you know, um, talking to someone, getting to know them, vetting them properly for a certain period of time was the best way. And then after vetting them, and some people don't want to wait the vetting to have sexual interactions. Some people don't want to. And my thing is, if you think I'm worth the wait, it shouldn't be a problem. And on top of that, I know people say, well, yeah, I want to know what it's like, bro. And no, it's telling you impatient and you trying to run and get something so then you can run off. And if that's the case, I'm just not for you. And that's okay too. And we got to, we just got to recognizing like, if that doesn't work, we just try something different. So I know that there's a lot of guys right now aren't really in that mindset of long commitment, especially monogamous men. So when they're not in that mind, or lifestyles too, if they're not in that mind, then that access shouldn't be given. There's certain accesses they shouldn't be given unless they're in your life in a certain capacity. And I do think that is true. So if a gentleman who wants to, he lives out of town, he's fine with the interaction on the phone, he loves having conversations with you and all that, that's cool. Have those conversations, enjoy that time. Not everything has to be very sexually related. I think that kind of blows people's mind, that you can have partners who you're not sexual with, and that confuses people too. And they think, oh, you're not really together. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what about the guy who can't get his thing up anymore? Is that's not his wife anymore? Like that's what I get confused. So if it's only sexual based, then there's a lot of men out here who ain't doing what they're supposed to do, so they ain't with their wife no more, not with their girl anymore because they can't get it up, or the woman who has her period or she ain't with her. Like, oh, well, that's different. It's not really. You're just trying to make it sound good. You can continue to do your foolishness, because if the fact is that your relationship is based on not just sexual, if you look up the definition of a relationship, it has nothing to do with being sexual. You can have a sexual relationship with someone. That's why they have something called a sexual relationship, because now relationships have to be sexual to be a relationship. So you want to make sure that the people that you're giving access to you in fullness are there for the right reasons, and they're not there just for the fun times, because we all have fun times, but we all have bad times, and are they there for that? And so we want to make sure of that. So that's why kind of having a vetting process for yourself is important. Figuring out what vetting looks like to you, all those great things. Now y'all see a blue towel. We got dry spilled water. Check the salmon again. All right. I think the salmon's looking real nice. Okay. I think we might be here already, because I put this in right around the time, but it's about 30 minutes. Okay, let's take it out. Okay, the salmon. Okay. This top is a little hot still, so I think I hope if it needs to just put on some more. Good look on that. Okay. So got our salmon. Let's even look at that salmon, and I was like, oh, there it is. There's the salmon. Got some good seasoning on it. Get in there on the salmon. Jeez. There's our salmon. Sounds sexy, I think. All right, okay. So, got our salmon. Now I'm gonna keep our oven on because I want to make something else. But so definitely want you guys to think about that. But that's it. I'm not trying to do long lives right now unless I have a panel, because I tend to blab on and on. And we want to keep being positive. I'm probably going to go run on TikTok and show some things. and we'll go from there. My day was well, Steve, I appreciate you. Thank you, and thank you for liking this. Thank you for commenting anything. And I like the likes, regardless how many people came in here and had a little good time with me. Like it's probably my friend does roster dating, but she ghosts men when they stop giving her money. She does allow them to connect or come back after a few months when they have a gift. That sounds draining to me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, listen, do her, boo, do her, you know. And the thing is, it's like that would be confusing to me to keep track of. Who was acting right and then didn't act right, not make sure they wait a little while. Like that's confusing. To me, I think that's confusing, and I think also allowing someone to hop in and out of access with you, um, when they feel like it, because obviously they were giving you gifts before. Now, if it's we want to just fight for the men too, right? So if the men are saying, "Oh, like I can't keep up with that lifestyle," well, she wants that lifestyle. So if you can't provide it, move on. Or if you don't think it's fair, it doesn't matter, because if that's what she requires and she doesn't want to do that, or if her reaction is to not hang out with you or do whatever with you, if you're not providing something for her, then you need to know what kind of woman you're dealing with and just get on board, or just move on and know that's not where you belong. And acceptance is the number one thing people struggle with, is accepting that even though you want something doesn't mean you should have it. And that's where we want to make sure, just because you want it doesn't mean you should have it. And that's okay too. And so when you accept that, it's fine, move on. They try to start a channel about mental health. Do you think there's a good idea? Well, yeah, I think anyone talking about mental health is important. I think that if you're going to just have conversations about it, that's positive. I would definitely bring people who are specialists on, not just life coaches, because life coaches have life experiences that they share, right? But you also have people who have medical degrees who can kind of break down things. And even when I explain things, when I talk about, you're dating someone who's anxious, attaches an anxious attachment to you, things like that. I'm telling you what I read or I saw from a professional. So these are things that I'm learning, and I'm giving you information. But there are people who've been practicing that for a career, and that's different. So you want to make sure that we go to the right place, and then always give resources out. It's really important. I have heard that before. So I said, you just need, that is something that you do, doing anything on here is nice, because giving people access to your information is number one. And so if you provide good information, even if it's a theory, providing information to people and see what they like, Oh, I'm really nice. I want to eat. I'm starving. I've been yelling about eating all day. And hopefully this rice is done. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to have salmon, white rice, and I am going to eat a damn taco. And it sounds like a lot, but I mean turkey. I mean no carb, all kinds of stuff. Xyline, okay? So only thing I'm going to have today is I'm going to get online with, oh my gosh, is I think I want to make something. I don't have the product I need. I'm going to make a scene. But yes, I just want to let you guys know that. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to come say hello to me. Thank you for liking it. If you subscribe, I appreciate it. I will try to go live like a little bit more, but I'm really focused on the TikTok and my new gaming channel, and that I'm trying to build. But I love talking about relationships, helping people through that, and so that's something that I will never die doing anything else but helping others, and that's what I really want to do. And so I'm gonna work at getting to a place where I can do that more often, and something I do desire, and I also know I have to do other stuff too. So, like you said, finding your balance. That's very, very important. And so thank you guys for being patient with me on that. I will let you guys run away. I will see you another time. And you guys have a great day, and I appreciate you. All right.